Steve Davis. Steve, in the old days, people would talk about billiards and snooker, and people would then start mumbling about a misspent youth. Did you take time off as a kid? Did you sneak away?
No, not really. Not until I got to the sixth form and realised that I was not going to pass maths or physics A-level. And I had no chance because they stopped doing numbers in maths when you get to the A-level stage. But it's quite nice now because now there's a lot of money in snooker. All their parents are pushing the kids into the game. It's not misspent anymore. Because there's a lot of money in it.
What is the great appeal of the game for you, then?
Balls, I think. No. I was just over the top of a snooker table. And that's the first thing I saw was a big black ball there, and I picked it up and got told off because it was in a match and my father was playing for the team. Like, foul stroke 7 away, of course. And that was a fascination, and I think over a lot more sports that's held my fascination for the game is the fact there's more than one ball on the table to control. It's not just a case of controlling the white ball. There's the ball going into the pocket, plus all the other balls you have to get in the right positions, or hopefully.
When did you first realise that you were really good at this game?
Well, I fell in love with the game about 14 properly, although I played at 8 on small tables like everybody does. Especially the kids now. But I think when I got to about 16 or 17 and I started travelling around and playing in junior competitions and realising that I was very good, and having not gone outside my own area up until that point, I hadn't realised how good I was.
Where did you find the tables to play on? Did you play on holiday or what?
I started, my first ever game was in Madison's Holiday, I don't think they're going now, are they? Madison's Holiday Camp, Dymchurch. And
Yeah.
It was called Golden Sands Holiday Camp. And they had one snooker table, and it was right next to the small miniature railway, and that used to be very off-putting when he was playing in the holiday camp competition.
What sort of prizes did you win then?
No, I got beat. I got beat in the first round, but my father was very good, and of course, it's sort of the fact that I play snooker because of him. He won the tournament and won a vacuum a flask.
Well, you've gone on a bit since then.
Yes.
You were a professional at 21, and you've been called the Iceman and the Robot. I mean, didn't you have time to learn how to be nervous? Do you not feel nervous before a big game?
Yes, you do. Before a big game, you do. Yeah, and I'm no different to anybody else going into it. But I think what happens is certain players can put on an act or become a better person as far as competitive players when they get out there. Once you walk out and they start clapping, you've got the cue in your hand and you know you're very good at doing that and playing snooker, all of a sudden you become a different person, or not a different person, but you become that little bit of your personality that is very competitive.
You respond to that, yeah.
And I can keep a straight face even though there's a lot of funny things happen when you're walking around the snooker table, and even though it's really serious, it can be funny, you can still keep a serious face, and that's why I'm sort of the Iceman and all that.
Yeah.
But I do laugh at jokes every now and again.
Yes, and you make a few as well, so it works out quite nicely. You're a close family. How do they respond? Do they get terribly worked up on your behalf?
The father is the one that does really suffer the most, and I've increased the size of his cigars from sort of Hamlet's upwards, which is like one of the things he's got out of it. But he chews them to death at the end, they're frayed up like the deltas.
It's like smoking a cue in the end, I suppose.
It doesn't chalk the end of it. But he was in the dressing rooms at this competition, the one just gone, the World Championships, and I just against Jimmy, it was like a tough game and all that, and I just cleared up the colours to win one of the important frames to go 17-15 instead of 16 all. And I rushed into the dressing room just to have a drink of water and that, and he was sitting in there like, oh. So I said, all right, I've just won that one. He said, what's the score? So I said, it's 17-15, I just cleared up the colours to win on the black. He said, I can't watch anymore. and he suffers more than I do because it's when you're concentrating in the middle, you're all right. But when you're watching, terribly sweat and everything.
The concentration required is colossal. Are you easily distracted?
No, not really. The occasional noises. Although, every now and again you get insects, especially in the hot days, they come round. Tony Mio was playing in an exhibition match quite a while ago, and there was a fly, it just kept on coming back. Of course, they're attracted to the light. And fortunately, the place we were playing had a bottle of fly spray. and the referee sort of was giving it, and spraying it all over the place. And Tony did a fantastic thing. He sort of span around fell on the floor. Which
Well, he's not very big, is he? Do you ever get a fantasy like that film The Hustler with Paul Newman, that you could go into a pool room in America without them perhaps knowing who you were, and I don't know if they do or not yet, and you could clean them out? Do you think of that?
Yes, I think I would. I don't know. The game's getting fairly sort of well known in America now. There's a few news crews came over at the last championships, and so they might start to know the faces. But it would be very nice to go over and pretend that you weren't any good at something, and then sort of show them all, which is great. Really. But I've never done it in snooker actually for money. I've never hustled as it was in the film. And if I did ever go over there and sort of got somebody, I'd always give it back to them at the end and say, "There you go. You've been had."
Well, you know, when Paul Newman did that, they took him out and broke his thumbs.
That's right.
But that's actually, thumbs you've got very special thumbs, haven't you?
I don't know if they've been broken, but I've got. They're not very nice looking, but I've got double jointed thumbs.
What's the advantage in that? There must be something.
For snooker, I think if you look, you see that? They're horrible, aren't they? I've got another one there. I've got one for sale, but they go. But what that means is, if you're interested, right? What it means is you can make a stronger bridge, V-bridge. I read a little article in a paper, one of the letters that somebody had written in, and said that I had an unfair advantage because I had a groove in my chin in it.
Someone had rest your bicycle. It sounds like that joke, doesn't it? No.
It's not that
big. You're 26 years old now. You could probably retire, I suppose. Well, obviously you could retire now, but do you intend to go on and become a legend like Joe Davis and rule the game, as it were?
Well, Joe, you can't really compare eras as far as the same with Muhammad Ali and Cassius and Rocky Marciano, it's nice to be sort of considered in the same sort of as dominating the game. And I'm doing quite well at the moment, although of course there's so many young players coming up that it's going to be really tough in the future. But I would like to be considered as one of the best players that's ever held a cue, and I'm sort of on my way. But I haven't. That's not the end of it, and really it's a matter of how long your motivation lasts.
And you still feel as keen as ever?
Yes, especially for the big tournaments like the World Championships. You can't put a price on that. Everybody says, "Oh, you won 44 grand in the World Championships. You must have really been pleased with that." But it's not. It's being able to pick up the trophy at the end, and nobody else can, or not nobody else can. But you're the one that's sort of achieved 2 weeks of hard work to do that. That's the nice thing.
Yes. Well, you keep the trophy and spread the money around. That's rather a nice system, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed, Steve Davis. Just for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.